All right. Next up, we have the water hazard episode where we got Melvin the Weasel, which I actually wrote down Melvin the Weasel right in the beginning. And then later in the episode, Nancy actually refers to him as a little weasel, which actually made me laugh out loud. So there's something in the water out there. And of course, this is another Mixmaster thing. And I like how they have like a potluck, and it is so stereotypical. The men just bring beer, and then the women bring all these like really elegant home cooked meals. Although we do know from a few episodes before with the ass blaster that Nancy really knows how to make a fine meal there. So at least we know she knows how to cook, but I just thought it was funny. It was all the women come and they bring these like elaborate dishes, and then the guys are like, brought beer. It's like, come on. We know that Bert doesn't have anything. What is he going to bring? Cactus with some hot sauce? All right. And yeah, Rosalita shows up with no bra again. She is just really, I was going to say milking it, but that would create its own pun. And I like that, what's cool about Perfection with this very, very small population is this is just like a little community. It's a little township, and there's only a few people there. And when they have a well, he brings up this idea of digging a well, and they're calculating how much of that's going to cost. And it's like, that's $6,000 a piece. And it's like the town belongs to them, and they oversee it. And there's no mayor, and there's no nothing. Like, they just take care of it as a collective. And I actually like that. I actually kind of dig that. I mean, I wouldn't want to live there where they live by any means with freaking what they're dealing with. But I'd love to live in a little community. I'd love to live in an area where everything's within walking distance. Like everything, I could just jump, on my bike, or I could jump on foot and just walk across the street and go to work, and then go to the market, and then come home, and like the whole community just kind of coexists, and they all kind of take care of each other's own problems and stuff. Like, I don't know, that sounds very quaint and idyllic. I love it. That sounds like something I'd be super into, but it's just not really the way things are done around here anymore. I'm sure in other places it is, but I liked that about this episode. It's just kind of, I felt this sense of community, and that's something that's sorely missing from the world that we know today. And Melvin wants Tyler to come out there without Bert. Like, he wants nothing to do with Bert, which makes sense since Bert left him for dead on a rock once. So I'm not blaming him for this. And Tyler is arrested for murder because one of the guys that goes out there with him to the water to investigate it gets killed, and of course it looks very suspicious, so I understand that. And then Bert comes and bails him out, which he finds out he went out there without him, which he's pissed off about. And then Melvin sabotages the water by dumping a bunch of diesel fuel into it, and that pushes this creature out, which is amphibious. Let's keep that in mind for a glaring plot hole later. And I like that the truck that Tyler drives has a graboid hood ornament on that. I did not mention that. They can't kill the creature in the water because the Mixmaster is in its blood, and if that gets into the water, then that will get into the water supply, which, animals will drink, and so on and so forth. So they have to be able to take this thing down without injuring it like that. And they have to do it without Bert, which, God, a lot of this, I think everything from here is kind of without Bert. And this is the creature from the Oasis Lagoon. That's something I wrote down here. Probably not worth saying, but I wrote it down, so I'm saying it. And then they have to trap this thing in the aqueduct, so they have Rosalita drive down some fences. They fence this thing into the little aqueduct there. Anytime I say aqueduct, I always think of Die Hard with a Vengeance. No, the aqueduct. Chester A. Arthur. Anyway. So they trap it on one side, and then they realize, which I don't know how they didn't realize this before, that the thing could just turn around and swim back out the other way. So Twitch has to take his car and drive it into the water to trap it, which actually doesn't even work anyway because the thing just keeps pressing itself up against the fence. It never does try to turn around. But big glaring plot hole here, it's amphibious. So it could come out on land and it could go either way. So it's not trapped. They should have made like walls on either side of the thing so that it couldn't have come up out of the thing. Then it would have actually been trapped. But it wasn't. It could have easily just climbed right up out of there. I mean, Twitch gets right up out of there, no problem. So why couldn't it? So why it just sits there and takes the dry ice that they spill all over it? I don't know. So I thought that was kind of funny and stupid. I was just like, that thing can walk on land too. I mean, that's how it got there in the first place. So are you guys not taking this into consideration, or are you just ignoring this, or whatever? It doesn't matter. And then Rosalita goes and blackmails Melvin for back pay and all this stuff. And I almost feel bad for the little prick, but I don't know. I like Rosalita better for sure. So I don't know. I kind of think what she does to him is kind of shitty, but I get what he's doing out there. It's just he's the only one that seems to have any desire to make any damn money or living. But he wants to bring back that world that I'm not all that about, from what I just said about the community and all that. So the hell am I talking about? All right, let's move on.